a story about the phone that rings at the nurse's station in the hospital. Nurse picks it up, voice on the other end said, "I'm inquiring about the condition of Mr. Miller in room 407. Nurse said, "Wait a minute, I'll check." She comes back a minute later. She said, "Yes, Mr. Miller has had the operation. It was a success. He's recovering nicely, and he should be released on Thursday." By the way, who is this? Guy says, "This is Miller in 407. Nobody tells me anything.
And now, High and Die.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Batavia After Breakfast. I'm Hiram Caston. I am proud to be joined. Finally, we're back together. Here she is, Diana Caston. Good morning, Di.
Hi, everybody. I'm back.
It's about time. I think this sounds like a good lead-in then for me to introduce the professor of fun, Tommy Moore, who wrote a book called A PhD in Happiness from the Great Comedians. I think he knows what comedy is. He may be just the guy to explain to you that if I tell you why something is funny, something is very funny. Tommy Moore, are you out there this morning?
I'm here. How are you? Hello, Batavia. I love Batavia. I love that name.
Well,
it sounds so regal. It's like now the king and queen of Batavia, Hiram and Diana.
Well, Bavaria was taken.
I see. By the way, you got to be careful, Diana, when you get Hiram and I together on the phone, because we could talk for hours, and the next thing you know, it'll be Batavia after lunch.
I know.
I never met Diana, but I got it.
No.
I know you because, like my wife, you got to be an angel. Because to be married to a comedian for a lifetime, you got to have a halo over your head. So God bless you.
We never met. I mean, were you in New York when we were there?
No, which leads me to my first question without even finding it on my phone.
Okay.
Tommy Moore made his bones and his great success in Philadelphia. And he started before me, and he goes back to when nightclubs were nightclubs before comedy clubs.
Are you Letterman's generation?
No, Letterman was out west, dear.
Okay.
Tommy Moore was...
No, I was before Noah.
He was told
everything, and there were two comedians. I was one, and we started the whole thing. No, I'm a Philly guy. I am. And I was born and raised in Philly, and Philly is a great place for American history. I mean, never forget the words of Thomas Jefferson, who said in Philadelphia, "If you see Ben Franklin, tell him I found this kite." This was the first. No, I'm from Philly, and I'm the only guy in Philadelphia who couldn't sing. Everybody.
That's right.
Al Martino, Eddie Fisher, Bobby Rydell, Fabian Chubby. They could all sing.
You threw in Eddie Fisher was trying to pass.
There you go.
But you can make people laugh, Tommy.
Yeah, I tried for choir. I did. And I tried to sing, and the priest said to each kid, he rehearsed this, and he said to the first kid, "You're a tenor." He said to the second kid, "You're a baritone." He said to the third kid, "You're an alto." Then I sang. He said, "You're a listener."
I thought he said to you, "Stay after class."
No. So I became a comedian, and I wound up opening for Bobby Rydell and Chubby Checker and all the other guys.
Jay and the Americans you opened for. You opened for virtually every group that came out of Philadelphia.
The Platters, the Dovells. And
wow.
They had to come every day in the afternoon and rehearse with the band. And all I had to do was come at night and tell my jokes, so I got the better career path.
You really did, and in time, everybody you opened for, everybody who's anybody out of Philadelphia, you either worked with, worked around, opened for, they opened for you.
It's true.
I mean, and so I would say you started probably around 74, right?
Yeah, I mean, I worked Palumbo's and the Log Cabin. I worked the Academy of Music. I opened for an opera singer. But then there were 11 of us comedians, and we all opened up our own comedy club. That's where I met Hiram. We had the Comedy Factory outlet in Philadelphia. And
That's
in the beginning, nobody cared. Nobody came. You know what we used to do? we would stand, the 11 of us comedians, we would stand outside the door in a line as if we were customers. And people walk by and say, "Ooh, look at this. There's a line for this place. We should go. It must be good." And the next thing you know, there was 20, then 40. When we got to 50 people, we unlocked the door, walked in. They never knew it was us.
That's great. Wow.
But that's how I met Hiram, because we had the 11 of us for about a year, and then somebody said, we're sick of seeing Philadelphia comedians. Maybe you should get a New York comedian. So Abby Stein, God rest her soul, said, I got the perfect guy, Hiram Caston, you'll love him. He came in, and all of us Philadelphia comedians were sitting in the back of the bar, like a little annoyed, like, "Oh, Mr. New York is going to come and show us how to do it. He's going to be so much better than us." And 5 minutes into his act, we looked at each other and said, "He's better than us."
That's a
very
great
sweet.
story.
And that's when I met Hiram Caston.
And as you posted on the Facebook the other day, you and I probably the only two comedians at the time who ever wore pocket hankies and cufflinks.
That's right. I wore a tuxedo on a comedy club stage. I was the only guy,
Yeah, me too.
I'm old school.
Yeah, we both are, and occasionally now in our later years, occasionally we just pick up the phone and talk to each other just about a specific thing in comedy that I don't think there's two other people in the world who talk about.
Very unique about comedians. I have to say that my husband will talk to you and other people, other comedians, on the phone for hours on end, talking shop, talking comedy theory.
Sure.
I don't know another profession that really does that calls up on the phone
Out of nowhere,
and then has long discussions in the backyard late at night, discussing comedy theory. Maybe astrophysicists.
You know why?
I don't know.
Because we are like women in childbirth. Doesn't matter where we come from, what time we all went through the same pains. And we just commiserate those pains because we know each other. We may never have even met each other, but we know each other heart and soul.
Yeah.
Right. Well, now that you said pain, I must go to a part of the book that's very important because it led you on a specific path. We also share something that's very spiritual. Also, we're spiritual men, which not many comedians are. Not many people, unfortunately, are these days. And your route to it was a painful one, a very uplifting one in the end. But would you care to share? Because I believe that it's a great part of your book and part of your journey in life. The situation, what happened with you?
Sure, yeah. It was like 1986, and I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was in the middle of a robbery. Now, luckily, the robber didn't have a gun, but he did have a pipe. So he hit me on the head 8 or 9 times. I say 8 or 9 because after 7, you stop counting. He tied me up. He put a noose around my neck. He put a gag in my mouth. I'm laying there in a pool of blood to die. And he looked down at me and said, "Don't try anything funny." You should never tell a comedian, "Don't try anything funny." Okay? Also, I had been a magician. You should never tie up a magician because it only acts as temptation because, thank God, I knew how to get out of ropes. So he locks me in a room. I get out of ropes. I get out of the locks. I wound up in the hospital for 3 days, head to toe casts. A doctor came in and a comedy club owner came in and said, "You may never stand on a stage again." I said, "You want to bet?" 4 days later, I had a show at LaSalle University. I never missed a show in my life. I wasn't going to miss that one. Then 4 days later, in head-to-toe bandages and casts, I did a show at LaSalle University. I've done 3,500 shows since, and I've had a ball doing every one of them because it's the only thing I ever wanted to do in my life. I mean, when I was a kid, I just wanted to make people laugh. I've been doing this since I'm a little kid. I mean, I was in show business when I was 5. Okay, I mean, instead of a football or I used to get toys like an accordion or a clarinet or a set of drums. 4 years old, I got a Jerry Mahoney ventriloquist dummy. The dummy was bigger than me. Okay,
you know how much I wanted that, by the way. I wanted that.
I had to sit on the dummy's lap. That's how big. When I was a kid, I went to every circus. I met every clown. I took pictures with every clown. I wanted to be a clown. I never became a clown. I became a comedian. Okay, fast forward maybe 40 years. about 4 years ago, I was approached by a hospital in North Carolina, which is where I now live. So I'm in North Carolina, and they asked me to start a clown hospital unit. And we got 11 guys, again, 11, magic number. And we became clowns. I taught them how to be a clown. And we've done over 3,000 little shows in patient rooms.
Oh, God.
Now, two stories, okay? One funny and one not so funny. Not so funny first. The nurses tell us which rooms to go into, which rooms not to go into, because maybe the patient just came back from an operation or they're asleep, whatever. My partner and I, clowns, are walking by a room. Woman says, come in. Now, this is a room we're not supposed to go in, but it's a command performance. So we go in. She says to her husband, who's laying in the bed, honey, wake up, open your eyes, there's clowns here. He opens his eyes, and we did our little 5-minute show, and he laughed a little bit, but no big deal. He was in pain, who knows. On the way out, she's thanking us profusely. And I said, well, we really didn't do that much. She said, no, you don't understand. This is the first time he's opened his eyes in 6 weeks.
Oh,
Wow.
what a story.
So you
Jeez.
never know. Now, the funny story was we walked into one room, a woman is on the phone, and she says to the person she's talking to, I have to hang up now. Either 2 clowns just walked into my room, or they have very good drugs in this hospital.
Well, let me just interject for a second that you've found us on Batavia after breakfast. We're talking to Tommy Moore, who's down in North Carolina, the professor of fun, who wrote a book, A PhD in Happiness, from the great comedians, which we're going to talk about his dealings with them, but his dealings with life itself and the joy that he has spread is an honor and a pleasure to call him a colleague. And you're at WBTA FM 100.1 and AM 1490. And Tommy, so this book, which I guess people can get on Amazon, yes?
Yeah, again, Amazon or Kindle, yeah. And the amazing thing about Amazon, this is amazing. I'm getting emails from people in Wales, from people in India, from people all over the world who are reading this book who would have never gotten the book if it was just on a bookshelf somewhere in Philadelphia. And I got an email yesterday. Somebody said, I have underlined parts of your book. Now, I never underlined a book in my life unless there was a test, okay?
Right.
But people like this because it's inspiring as well as funny.
Well, I'll tell you, I because I could not find my notes on my little phone, I was not able to say all of the extent of the things you've done, from contributing to Mad Magazine, to teaching at Temple University, to working at Caesars resort hotels, to the hundreds of comedy clubs and cruise ships, to the opening for Dionne Warwick, Chubby Checker, and Rydell and the Coasters, and many, many others. And you came by the title Professor of Fun the old-fashioned way. You earned it. Corporate jobs with AT&T and American Express. And so I guess you could have fun with your wife now traveling on cruise ships, as I see you on Facebook, because you actually earned a few shekels along the way.
Yeah. Thank God. Thank
well,
God. That's right.
This is a good thing, too. And the people in the book, we like these names. You've learned lessons in life from everyone from Leno and Bob Hope and Jerry Lewis and Burl, Robin Williams, Crystal. Well, you listen, this is what it's all about. And the thing what Diana said before about comics, how they're able to speak to each other at any hour of the day or night. Your wife, wasn't she a therapist?
My wife is a psychologist. And she once said if she could get all the comedians together, she could have a practice 24 hours a day, except most of us are broke, so she couldn't make any money.
But it's true. It's true. This is true, and I want to just, I have to start wrapping up, Tommy. We're committed to a couple more commercials, but we can speak all day. And this is a man who's done over 3,500 shows, speeches, seminars, so you can get Tommy Moore, the Professor of Fun, which I see he's trademarked, by the way, that's in case, your own doctor wants to call himself Professor of Fun.
Right.
When you go to your urologist and he uses a Q-tip on you. And by the way, I'm the Professor of Fun, and he sticks it in, This is a PhD in happiness from the great comedians. It's a great read. I have read it, and for my troubles, which were no trouble at all, I got a great inscription. He wrote, "To my buddy Hiram, a classy guy, a funny guy, a mensch." You see how these guys all know how to use those words?
Right.
You can't get in show business without getting in the secret cabal, that Jewish cabal, to be a comedian, right? Best always, much happiness. I have much happiness mostly because of the woman sitting next to me, and I know you understand that. We're very lucky that way.
So, Diana, Hiram, God bless you. Thank you for having me on. Have a great day.
God bless you,
Tommy,
too, Tommy.
God bless you and the work that you do. And everybody, you know how to get this book through Amazon. You probably know better than me already. You're probably ordering it already. Tommy, God bless. Keep it up. I just hope we see each other face to face one of these days.
Yes, sir.
All right?
Take care.
All the best.